Well, I get a lot of people going, oh, well, you're not using big enough fasteners, you're not using Torx fasteners, stuff like that. No, I live in Canada. We don't have Phillips. We have a thing called Robertson, or as you guys down stateside so wrongfully named them, square drive, because these were invented by a Canadian company, and that's why they're a Canadian standard. We don't use Phillips up here very often. Phillips is very rarely ever used. Only for certain circumstances will we ever touch a Phillips. But the actual contact between a square drive and a Torx, there's a 10 to 15% increase of actual contact and less chance of slippage. But what the big deal thing is cost point, okay? Now, I went and picked these up just for you guys so I can make some of my videos using some of the fasteners that the big boy channels are using. But these here, just this little handful of fasteners, okay? That was $56. Okay, $56 just for that. I did a price comparison, buying lag bolts that are of comparable value and size and strength and length and common Robertson fasteners, like these things here. We can actually get them in Robertsons. That was $18. You buy it $18, okay? So I decided to do another thing. I went and took a look at deck screws, 20 kilogram pail of deck screws. Okay, the common deck screw in Torx was $86 for a 25 kilogram. The Robertson, and this is the thing, is on these small fasteners, the Torx doesn't make a huge difference on the small fasteners. Not a huge difference at all versus Robertson. And the Robertsons were $32 for a 25 kilogram pail. So when it comes to a cost point, these still are not there to make it feasible, because these Robertsons are made of the same material that these Torx are, and they're the same strength, the same value, and so it's cost point. So when you're doing a project, you're going to have to think what's going to be a better cost for the customer and for you to make profit and so on in your margins. Now, there are a lot of areas where, yes, you're going to want to use these things because they're smaller, you don't have to always drill pilot holes for them and stuff like that. So they come with advantages and benefits. But over traditional, conventional, you don't have to get all fancy and don't break your bank, because honestly, at the end of the day, it's not going to be 1,000 times better. If anything, you might see a 10 to 15% increase in value on strength and structure wise. But other than that, you're not going to see a whole lot more. But anyways, I got some big fasteners for you, the ones that the big boy channels are using. Because like I myself, for a long time, like I use these things when the engineers call for them and ask for them. If the engineer does not call for it, then I go for a more affordable method for my customers to save money and also to keep the budget on track. But none of that. A lot of these fasteners aren't actually really needed on a lot of the stuff that people are working on, like running them into soft lumbers and stuff like that. Yeah, they're good, they're great, they're nice, but it's the cost point. Now, as they become more universal and become more standardized, we'll see the price drop down, which will be nice. And I love Torx bits because mostly on the larger fasteners, they give good contact, they hold good, and it's just the way of the future. It's how it's going. Phillips and Robertson are going to eventually get replaced, but it's right now the cost point just is not really a realistic cost point in this day and age in the market, when we can have comparable strength fasteners that are like Robertson, and there's a couple other ones out there that you can use that are cheaper, more affordable, same strength, same value, and the bits are cheaper, a whole hell of a lot cheaper. But anyways, I do digress. But I'm going to be making some video of me running these things through the kind of materials that we actually in the trades actually run into. We're not always working with cedar. We're not always working with pine, spruce, softwoods. sometimes we'll have to work with yellow cedar. Yellow cedar is like yellow cedar is tighter, heavier, denser. It's still a softwood, but it's one of the more hard, more dense of the softwoods. Old growth fir, tight growth fir, VG fir. We run into some maple sometimes. We run into a little bit of oak here and there. But LVLs and engineered materials. We run into a lot of engineered materials with these fasteners. And that's the thing, is when you're working with softwoods, that's one thing. But when you're working with LVLs, HVLs, engineered lumbers, paralams, microlams, these things are pretty dense, pretty hard, and give a little bit more resistance. So I'm going to make videos of those fasteners, me taking those fasteners there and running them through the actual materials that we see on the job site, so you can make a better decision on which tool you want to use over drill, impact, or impact. And I'm also going to go over a couple other little tips and tricks for cam out and stuff like that. But just for you guys, I'm going to go over this and give you guys a little bit more information and a little bit more tips and see what happens. So I'll catch you all on the flip side, y'all.